I know. Sarge, is motorcycling the only thing you talk about? Is motorcycling the only thing you care about? Nope. I care about the Jacksonville Jaguars too.
Hey, y'all, it's Snacks reminding you to tune in to the Iron Elite podcast. You dig?
This is the Mileage Bully, the Moto Mob CEO, and your 2024 Titan. You are now listening to Sarge on the Iron Elite podcast. Like, share, and subscribe. If you're not listening to the Iron Elite podcast, what are you really doing? Because we are talking motorcycles over here. You dig?
Hey man, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey man, happy Easter, man. I was going through some changes with the doggone StreamYard this morning. But the devil ain't gonna win, man. Y'all let everybody know that we on Share It with a Friend. Cause we going in.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this your man Kodak, the most hated, coming to you live from the Iron Elite podcast with my man Big Sarge, where we always keep it motorcycling. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know what it is.
Hey man, good morning everybody, man. I'm hoping that everybody's having a wonderful Easter morning so far. I'm hoping that those riders that are on the road, that are going to wherever they're going, they're getting there safely, not having any issues on the road. Man, shout out real quick to all my IT and to the enders, man. Those guys are getting it in. You dig? Man, I'm just saying this, man. They're going as far as right now. I've got riders on the Panhandle of Florida. I got riders in Mississippi. I've got riders in that great country of Texas. If you know what I mean, if you've been through Texas, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And man, they're doing their thing. Some are learning about the gas stops in Texas. Some are learning that, hey, man, that road ain't no game. So please make sure that your tires, make sure that your wheel and tire package and your ESP is on fleek. Man, I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there for everybody that's riding, man. Continue to watch that weather. So far, so good. But I know a lot of the riders are hitting that 40, man, whether it's Soldiers United with, I think, Cinnamon and Buster was reporting to me last night, man, they were getting snow in the Flagstaff area. I've been hearing about the weather is a little crazy in California, so some people have held up in Arizona, man. No matter what you think, it's not summer yet for America, man. So please be careful on those highways. Please use those weather apps, whether you use My Radar or whatever it is you use. That's what I use. So please continue to monitor that weather. Please to monitor, continue to monitor the Iron Elite page, because we're constantly getting this information and we're posting this information and sharing with one another, because I know this weekend everybody is everywhere. So with that being said, hey man, we're gonna bring one of our baddest guests, man, one of my favorite guests. I affectionately call him the smartest man in the motorcycle community today. I said it and I ain't taking it back. My brother Leroy-Key, what's happening, baby?
Hey, it's all good, Sarge. Happy Easter to you, brother.
Happy Easter, sir. Man, it's so good to talk to you. I'm going to see you soon, man.
Oh, for sure.
That's what's up. Hey, man, you know what? We've been talking about all this yonder. We've been talking about, ESPs, tire packages, maintenance, equipment, common to all. We've been talking about getting yourself medically ready to get on the road. But we hadn't talked about something that's important, man, because a lot of us like to carry. Is that true?
Yeah.
We kind of like that Second Amendment. Get out.
Yes, sir. We got it right.
For sure. So, man, we're going to talk today. And the question is, are you riding dirty. hey,
Don't get
hey,
caught.
hey, hey, man, don't
Don't
get
get
caught
caught
riding
riding
dirty,
dirty.
man. So we gonna break it down today. We're gonna talk about a couple things, my brother Low-Key. If you don't mind, can you, for those who don't know you, I don't think it's no more than about 2 people on this page that don't know you. If you don't mind, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, man?
Sure, man. Sure. My name is Low-Key. That's my handle that my brother Rude Dog gave to me. I live in Houston. I'm a retired member of the Black Knights motorcycle club out of Southern California. I've been living in Houston about 6 years, and man, I really, I just appreciate the opportunity, man. I think it's a blessing to have the freedom to be able to get on these bikes and move around. I aspire to have the kind of freedom. I'm a slave. I'm a slave to the job. I'm a slave to the family. I've got 2 young sons that are in college. They don't need me as much as they used to. So I've been trying to, get out and move around a little bit. But I think it's truly a blessing to be able to do it, man. And it definitely is therapeutic to be able to get out on your bike and ride, whatever the distance is, man. It could be a short. It ain't all about Yonda. It's all, Yonda is for some, but, I've been watching Carl here do these scavenger hunts, and him and Piper and Reef, chasing different things in the RTE, and I'm kind of intrigued by these scavenger hunts too. So I'm gonna have to try some of that stuff out too. It seems pretty cool.
Hey, man, I dig it. Matter of fact, I've watched Carl do it. I've watched here lately, my man Fred's out of Red Breed, Fayetteville, man. He's doing the VA 4 corners, man. So there's all kind of cool stuff going on. There's 4 corners in your state. There's
Yep,
these scavenger hunts. There's the different IBAs that's out there. And you're right, man. Those guys are getting after it and doing their thing. But the most important thing is, man, is doing what I think the majority of us love, and that's riding motorcycles, man. Riding motorcycles free. Is that fair?
absolutely, bro. Absolutely, man. It's freedom. It
Oh,
is
for
freedom.
sure. For
Yeah.
sure. But anyway, this morning, brother, we're talking about the topic again. If anybody is out there, man, share this with a friend. Let everybody know. And also by the ones who are also with the ones who are just starting to come in on the feed, whether it's YouTube or the Iron Elite page, man, if you guys could do us a favor, shoot us a like, man. Let's get the algorithm going. Let's get things going on the page this morning. If you hadn't subscribed, please take the time to subscribe to Sarge Life and Motorcycling so we can grow the YouTube as well, man, to get things out there going. And again, if you shoot a subscription or a sub, as they'll call it, on the YouTube page, it don't mean that you got to buy nothing. All you're going to do is hit the subscription button or the subscribe button. And what that does is let YouTube know when we're on live. It shoots you a notification, man, to let you guys know that we're on live and we're talking about, most importantly, motorcycle stuff, man. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get in. So the name of our topic today is Are You Riding Dirty? Low-Key, how are we going to start this off? Are we going to talk about, are you riding legal?
Yeah.
is that what we need to establish first? Are we riding legal?
Yeah. I think that's a good place to start, Sarge, because, I think, and I think number one, we certainly do have the Second Amendment from a federal standpoint, but the feds pretty much leave it up to each state to kind of regulate, their gun laws, right? And so, I think the biggest misunderstanding right now is that if you live in a state that has, that's constitutional carry, which means basically if you can legally purchase a firearm, then you can carry a firearm, right? And so about half the states, a little over half, maybe 27 states have what they call permitless carry. And so that's all fine and dandy, and that's great. I think even though it hurt my business as a firearm instructor from teaching Texas license to carry, it did hurt my business, but it hurt the LTC business. I still provide the training, which I still think is necessary. But I think the problem is that even though they basically waived the need to have a permit, they're not excusing us from knowing the law, right? And the number one issue I have with permitless carry is it doesn't cover you if you cross the state lines, right? It's only for you as a resident of the state you're living in.
That's why I like permits, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the permit force, the biggest thing is getting a permit when it comes to traveling on state lines. I know for me in Texas, as a license to carry holder, I can legally carry in almost, I think it's 37 at this current moment. It's 37 other states that I can carry, which pretty much covers the states that I'm gonna be riding in at any given time, with the exception of California. On the West Coast, California, Oregon, and Washington, I don't have reciprocity in those areas. But I mean, I live in Texas. Let's face it. If I'm up there if I'm in those areas on ground once or twice a year, I'm lucky. If I'm able to go that far for whatever reason. So I just think, but Sarge, I think just going back to the permitless carry, I think it's a slippery slope too, man. Because when you don't go through the training, to understand the laws, and you just carry a gun, then in my opinion, it makes you more you can be convicted. You're more convictable because you don't know the laws, and you're walking around here with a gun on you, right?
Because ignorance is no excuse.
It's no excuse.
It's no excuse. They're gonna hammer you. I know.
Yeah, but to your point about ignorance, ignorance, number one, this is not to offend anybody about their intelligence, because ignorance, we're saying, you could be very intelligent and ignorant on a topic.
Just don't know. Just don't.
Yeah, just not knowing. So my personal, when Texas approved it, my personal viewpoint on it is that it's going to allow district attorneys to arrest, to put charges on people because of their ignorance. They're gonna, for example, in Texas, you can't carry a gun. You're not supposed to conceal carry or open carry in an establishment that derives more than 51% of their revenue from alcohol, right? Which, so you can't carry in a bar, right? Essentially, but I can't tell you how many times I go to a bar and I see someone, they're printing a little bit, and their phone is in their hand.
Yeah.
So that ain't a cell phone on their hip.
Right.
It's a firearm. So they're in violation. And then, of course, Texas is probably one of the most gun-friendly states in the union. Yeah. But if a manager or owner of the establishment comes and asks you to remove yourself, somebody that's ignorant is going to start talking about hey, it's my right to carry. I have constitutional carry. Right. When in fact you are breaking the law, and if they call the police, they can get you arrested. By the time you spend the money that you spend, fighting that gun charge, you were wrong. So they have every right to prosecute you. Let's say you cop a plea, and that plea is a lesser charge, but it's still a gun infraction, which is now going to put you in the ATF database and possibly prevent you from ever purchasing a firearm again, because you're not going to pass a background check, right? So if you can't legally buy one, now your permitless carry is dead. You can't carry because you can't legally buy one.
And I thought did you say 19 states now have permitless?
I said roughly about, I think there's 27 states. I was doing some research. There's like 2 pending. So there's either 25 or 27 states that have permitless carry or constitutional carry.
Constitution. I'm trying to wrap my mind around this. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember also, Sarge, that the gun laws are not really made for people of color, right? I mean, they're not made to protect people of color.
Yeah,
they're made to incarcerate.
I peeped that. I peeped that.
Yeah. There's and I sent you a couple of links to some short videos that people can watch, but there were no gun laws.
By the way, those videos that Low-Key sent to me, I've watched them. I've perused them, but they are in the description. So you guys feel free to pop on those videos. But everything that we're talking about today is in the description title.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, brother.
No, you good. So there when there weren't any gun laws. Pretty much it was a free for all. It was literally the wild wild west up until the time that the slaves were freed. And then from that point on, almost every time any legislation, whether it's at a state or federal level, has been to disarm the less fortunate, and unfortunately people of color are the majority of the less fortunate, right? So they're really not in our favor. So when they did that, I viewed it as a way, okay, now the people that don't like to read for themselves, that rather hear opinion of others, just because Day told me it's permitless carry and now I can carry my gun, I'm gonna carry my gun. Well, guess what? Day didn't tell you, at least in Texas, about all the laws associated with it. And then one of the number one laws associated with permitless carry in Texas is that your gun has to be in a holster. You can't just stick it in your belt loop.
Yeah.
It's got to be in a holster, right? Or you're in violation again, right? So,
Right.
So I think it's a slippery slope. I think, anyone that lives in a permitless carry or constitutional carry state, I think it's in your best interest, if you plan to carry a firearm, I think it's in your best interest to also understand the laws for your state.
Okay, and for these carries, it's still got to be concealed. Am I correct?
Absolutely, it's got to be concealed.
But it's got to be concealed.
Open. Right.
Is do you remember? I remember a few years ago going to the AZ Soul Brothers run. I saw people have an open carry.
Yeah.
I don't know if Arizona still does that.
Yeah, they do. They do. And in different states, again, I mean, I'm not sure what their laws are, if they needed a license to do that. But, I've seen that in Arizona and in Nevada, right? I've seen it in both states. And I'll give you my viewpoint on that, because most of the time, people that are carrying that way, to me, they're making themselves a target, right? You take away the element of the surprise. Right. And if I'm in a situation, if you're in a situation where the bad guy is going to be shooting at people, they're going to shoot you first. I'd rather, that's one of my ABCs of self-defense is you got to conceal. It's got to be concealed.
Right? Well, he said, I'm attacking who I think can attack me first.
Exactly.
The alligator closest to the boat. That's what I'm getting at.
Now, there's a time for open carry. If you want to show a force and you're providing security and things like that, of course it works. I mean, our police officers have their guns exposed, but in most cases, all of them have a concealed backup, either in their boot or in somewhere, on their person. But to me, open carry makes you a target, and I see some things that are very irresponsible. I've been at motorcycle events where I go to the urinal and there's some cat in there, like a little boy with his pants damn near around his thighs, and it's a gun and a holster sitting there, right?
Gun,
yeah. And I'm like, if you had an enemy that wanted to take you out, he can come here and use your own gun on you, right?
For sure.
Which brings me to, like, one of my traveling tips is, if you're carrying, then I always go into a stall when I go to the restroom when I'm traveling and lock the door, right? Because I'm carrying. I don't want to be at a urinal and exposing that I'm carrying. So I go into a stall always, when I travel, pretty much all the time. If I'm carrying, I'm going to go in the stall, just because I don't want to expose that I'm carrying to anyone, and I don't want to become a victim of my own gun because someone wants to take advantage of it. Even if they don't shoot you, hell, they pull your gun out and conk you over the head just to steal the gun.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to be that guy.
You used the word we first started off, reciprocity.
Yes.
What does reciprocity mean, and what should we know about that word? What do we should know about states that provide reciprocity?
Yeah. So reciprocity is basically So I'm speaking of this from from my point of view here in Texas. But you can, like, if anybody, and I need to send you one more link. It's from a organization called the United States Concealed Carry Association. Okay. They have a on their website, you can go to their reciprocity website and click on your state, and then it'll light up the rest of the states that have reciprocity for your LTC. So it's a pretty good tool. But when I use that link and go to my for Texas, there's 37 other states. If I am a Texas license to carry holder, other states call them concealed carry, whatever your license is called, CW this or whatever. You have some level of reciprocity with other states that also allow concealed carry or license to carry. So for Texas, I have reciprocity with 37 other states. That means that I still, now here's the thing, it doesn't excuse me from knowing the laws of those states, right? So their laws may be different than they are in Texas, but the fact remains I can carry on the on the highways or whatever where I need to do some research. For in my case, the governing agency for firearms is the Texas Department of Public Safety. On their website, when I type in reciprocity in the search area, it gives me a list of all the states that we have reciprocity, and it also tells me what laws are different so that I can comply. Right? And just remember, I mean, from the point of view of law enforcement, it's really only the bad guys don't. If you're a license to carry holder, it shows that you're probably not a bad guy. Bad guys don't get licenses to carry; they just carry.
They don't, because they got to go through a background check.
Yeah, they got to go through a background check, right? So, reciprocity is really important. In fact, in the state of Texas, we actually have a non-resident Texas LTC that a person can apply for. You can take the written class online, and all you got to do is take the range qualification the next time you're in Texas, and you will do a background check, fingerprinting, and you can get a Texas non-residence license to carry. So even my brothers and sisters out in California, for example, they can apply for this, and once they leave California, they can carry in the states that offer reciprocity to Texas. Right?
And most of the states that offer it say, there. I think I've checked a lot of times going across the 10, because I have a license in Florida. They were granted in Georgia. Matter of fact, every state that I go through, all the way to the West Coast, except that damn California.
Yep, every state.
And New Mexico is the only states, man, ain't playing no games, which is none.
Yeah. But now, see, I have reciprocity with New Mexico with my Texas license to carry. But you're right. So basically, all it means is, the governing agencies in Florida and in New Mexico couldn't come to an agreement on what reciprocity would look like.
Right.
So it varies by state, but at least when you're going through New Mexico, hey, it's a short ride anyway.
Right, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to that's because I'm setting this up for a specific question. Okay. But for everybody that's out there on the Facebook live stream on Iron Elite page, hey, we're going to go ahead and cut in about 2 minutes. I'm going to cut the live feed on Iron Elite, and I like to have everybody move over to Sarge Life and Motorcycling, the YouTube channel. If you don't have the link is going under the bottom on the ticker right now. But I'm going to kill the Facebook live stream. Low-key, you on Facebook Live, or no, you should be able to go on YouTube?
No, I'm on YouTube. I didn't do Facebook.
Okay, you're on YouTube. Yeah, I'm going to kill that stream because I think the quality of the show, the cameras, everything is a little bit better on YouTube. So I'm going to, probably about another 60 seconds, I'm going to kill that stream, and we will be on YouTube, Sarge Life and Motorcycling. If you don't know the link is below, and it's on the ticker. So just get that out the way real quick. So, hey, okay, so if I'm going through a state, and I'm going to call them, I'm going to get out of my politics. I ain't going to call them, whatever I'm going to call them. But Washington State, Oregon, California, those states, and I have a license to carry from Florida. What are some things I can do? Say, if I'm just traveling through that state, I'm not going to be in that state long. I'm just traveling through that state to go to another state, and I have my firearm. What are some steps I can do to make sure that I'm not going to get myself in trouble? Do you know any steps?
I would say the first thing you want to do is not have it on your body, right?
Mm,
Because
okay.
that becomes problematic and hard to explain that you didn't have ill intentions, right? Like you should know better because you do have an LTC, so you're supposed to know better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing you want to do is remove the firearm from your person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Second thing you want to do is remove the magazine and unload the firearm. The third thing you want to do is store it on your bike, separate the ammunition separate from the firearm, right? That's the third thing you want to do. And I personally recommend just firearm in one saddlebag, ammunition or magazine in the other saddlebag, and to make sure they're locked.
And maybe okay, like a flag safety or
Yeah,
no, you're
yeah,
talking about
yeah.
actually
Flag safety, flag.
yeah,
Yeah, to show that it's
like a,
clear,
right,
right,
that you have
and
no intent.
that you got no
Yeah.
ill intent with that firearm. Now, I would take it a step further, and I meant to bring one in here, but they got, and I have a look for all of my gun people that'll go crazy. Gun is empty, right? They have these trigger locks that are small and compact that you can just put right in here. And if this firearm was in my left saddlebag with a lock on it and the slide open like this with a lock on it, and my magazine with the ammunition is in my other saddlebag, and both were locked, I think I think any reasonable officer would show that you are trying to comply with their state laws on firearms, even though you have a LTC
Mm-hmm.
or a CCW or a
Right.
CWW, whatever state you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think is a very high probability that they're not going to screw around with you, right?
Right.
And I think that's the best way to handle that. I think if you're going through a state that you don't have reciprocity with, you certainly want to do that, and especially the states that are like on my map. Oregon, Washington, California, New York, and some other northeastern states are red.
Yeah.
Now, that red means that I don't have reciprocity. What it also means is that's not a gun-friendly state. So, first thing I want to do is separate myself from the firearm. Do not have it on my person. Or the first thing. Second thing is I want to make sure that it's unloaded. The third thing is I want to make sure that the ammunition and the firearm are separate. And if you want to take an additional step, I would place a trigger lock on the firearm to further demonstrate that I was trying to comply with their laws.
Okay. Okay. Could they still do something with you if you got that much stuff going on?
Man, they can do whatever they want, right? They
They
can
can fool
arrest you to
around,
make
huh?
your life miserable, just force you. Like if you're out of state and something like that happens, it's just it's one of those things where the DA could potentially still take look at your background and your record
Right.
and just make your and if you got a clean record, they probably know that they can't win that case. But if you got any kind of violent or anything, they might take a look at that and make your life a little bit more difficult. But I would say, generally speaking, even a court appointed defense attorney should be able to show that you were doing the best you could to comply
Doing okay.
and help you beat that case, right? So I
And I,
can't tell you ain't gonna get arrested,
yeah.
but it, I think
Yeah.
a logical person, any logical judge would look at what you did and say, you know what, you kind of did everything that you could possibly do given the circumstances. And honestly, in most states, you can travel through TSA with the
Mm-hmm.
firearm as long as you do the same thing, and that is, separate the ammunition from the firearm and then lock the gun. So if you put those trigger locks on,
Yeah.
I think that's an added step.
And most of the time, I've flown and carried my firearm, and typically you can just go on the airports or the airlines website, and then they'll have the regulations for carrying a firearm. And I think it was pretty simple. Like I think one time I've done American Airline,
Yeah.
they'll typically have you have it in a gun box, locked,
Yep. Yep.
the ammunition separate, Ziploc bag, or in its container.
Yeah.
So it can't be loose ammo. It's got to be in its container in
Yep.
the lockbox, and then you claim it at baggage, and then they'll put the special tag on it,
Yeah.
and then you're good to go. You should have no issues from there.
Yep.
So I was thinking that, okay, so for those who don't fly or catch a bus or train, obviously you could be traveling from state to state, whether it's via on your motorcycle, your car. I would think pretty much the same way, just again doing everything that you can deliberately to show that is the intent is just to transport that firearm from one place to another. Am I correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
whenever I'm doing any kind of a research, I mean, you said the operative word is, transporting, right? So
Mm-hmm.
whatever your governing agency is, for your state on firearms, then you want to go and just put transport and firearm in the search query so that you can get that information. You want to know what reciprocity is, go to your governing agency's website, just type reciprocity and you'll get everything that you need to read through. Again, we got to do some reading, man. We got to start
Hello.
educating ourselves and
Yeah.
don't take Leroy-Key's word for it. Don't take Sarge's word for it. I'm giving you the tools to go do your own research. You need to demonstrate that you did that. Even to your point earlier, you're in Oregon, you got pulled over. You're like, hey, I went to your website, blah 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 blah. I typed in transporting firearms, and it says I was compliant. I mean, we've all seen those viral videos where people that understand the law are quickly able to diffuse
Yeah.
situations with law
Yeah.
enforcement because they know their damn rights. You
Yeah.
got to know
It's
what your rights are, man.
yeah.
You can't defend yourself unless you know what your rights are.
Yeah. Long as you ain't doing it, going crazy with the police, man,
Yeah,
and they know you've done your homework. Typically, for the most part, they're gonna back on down and leave you alone. Now
exactly.
they ain't gonna get you out of that speeding ticket for doing 155.
Now
Doing
that's
it
a whole nother
over. Yeah, it's a
nother
whole lot
story.
different. So if you ride with a firearm, man, you might not want to be doing crazy things along with riding with a firearm, man, because it's just
You're
gonna,
right.
yeah, it's pouring gas on top of a forest fire, definitely. So if you don't mind, let's do this, man. Let's get into. I know we had it broken down to the reasons why you should have an LTC or CCW or CC. What are the 5 reasons, if you don't mind? Let's break that down to
Yeah,
have an
yeah,
LTC.
yep. So if for me, the number, and I don't remember how they're numbered on the flyer that we did, but I know them. For me, for a motorcycle rider that is crossing state lines, the number one reason to have an LTC is reciprocity, right? You want to be legally compliant in the other states that you're traveling through so that you can carry your firearm. You want reciprocity. That is the number one for me as a motorcycler.
Okay.
Uh, Number two, I think you're gonna have ease of interaction with law enforcement, right? So I'll tell you, in Florida, when I did mile marker zero back in 2020, me and my group, and I can't remember the name of the bridge down there on the way to mile marker zero, Key West. Where,
To my
where did that
kid,
bridge
I
down there?
don't know.
I can't
I
think of the
can't
name
remember
of
that
it, but
bridge. I know it's long as hell. It's
yeah, it's long
yeah,
as hell.
yeah.
And the reason we got in trouble was because we started pulling some California lane splitting and
Oh
shoulder
wow.
riding
Ooh, wow.
because
Yeah.
and the funny thing, we we did it right in front of the cops. Like when we busted out and got in that shoulder, as soon as we passed by this intersection, they were sitting right there. And they didn't even have to get in their car to flag us over because we weren't going that damn fast. So
Yeah.
they just started pointing us over.
Well, I'm gonna put it this way: in the Keys, ain't much room to go too damn fast anyway.
Yeah,
But
it wasn't. But you
those
get
cops are
impatient.
brutal down there. Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, you get impatient because you've been flying to get
Mm-hmm.
down there. You've been piping,
And now
85,
you're on
90
a
miles
40
an
mile an
hour, and
hour
then you get down
march.
there and you can't
Yeah,
go.
yes,
Yeah,
sir.
but anyway, we get pulled over, and my 3 of my guys they were all from California. I was the only one from Texas, and I was carrying. So what I did when I gave my driver's license to the officer, I handed him my driver's license and my LTC, and I told him that my firearm was on my right hip. and I gave him my Texas LTC and my license. And he was like, "Hey, thanks for telling me. I appreciate that." And I said, "Okay." And he never asked to see the firearm or anything. And the funny thing is, we ended up taking one of my boys, Big O, one of my club brothers, Big O, is about 6'6". When he got off to his dresser and to get his license out, the officer was an Asian cat. He was probably only about 5'8", and Big O was so much taller than him. He just started laughing, and that kind of broke the ice. And they ended up letting us go and just told us don't do that anymore.
Hey, it's funny you said that, because last June, I was down at mile marker 0, and I got pulled over. Yeah, I got pulled over, but it was all good, man. The cop was real polite and the whole nine. You know, I didn't get a ticket or anything. I just kind of got a warning. But hey, the same thing, man. Because I had my firearm on me.
Yeah.
And the first thing he said, "Are you carrying anything?" Blah blah blah. Because I had my vest on, the whole nine.
Right.
That perception. And I said, "Yes, I do, officer." Blah blah blah. This is where that. I said, "Do you need me? Do you need to see it?" He said, "No. Just keep everything locked the way it is, and just don't make no moves, don't open nothing, don't go on the bike."
Right.
But he was really, really smooth, cool about the thing. It was very calm, and you can tell even when I said it, it just kind of gave him a calming presence to say, "Okay, this guy's probably a pretty clean guy. Ain't gonna have to, be worried."
Hey, Sarge, he already knew once he ran your plate on the bike, he knew that you had the license to carry.
True. Yeah,
right.
It was a Florida concealed weapons.
Right. Exactly. You said you were down in the Keys, right?
Yeah.
So he knew. I've been pulled over in Texas. And I think they're kind of waiting for you to disclose. Like they're on tense because they want to see how transparent you're going to be.
Right.
And the quickest way to let the air out of that that tension is to say, hey, I most of the time I'm like, hey, I have a license to carry, but I'm not carrying it right now, right? If I'm in my pickup truck going to church or something, or have been in the car with the family, I'm probably not. I'm probably not. That I'm not in environments where I think I'm gonna need to. Then I'm not one of those cats that carries 100% of the time.
Right.
But certainly when I'm moving around on my bike, I am, right. And I think that's for me, that's where I feel the most exposed. But even here, Texas is a gun-friendly state. There's a lot of pickup trucks here. I even have, speaking of lock boxes and stuff like that, I do have a lock box, in my pickup where, I keep what I call my truck gun.
Mm-hmm.
So it may not be on me, but it's close by.
Hey, boy, y'all Texas, y'all just do things different.
Hey, we don't keep rifle racks in the windows no more, bro, because people break in and steal them.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think was that Tev said not all states link the LTC with your plates or DL. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But I bet you they have more information than we think they know.
Man, people know, bro. People, and they, you know what? They should know, and I'm glad that more and more people know, bro. Because it's so much more, to it. I mean, it really is. It's, like, again, I think it's a slippery slope. I think there's a lot of things that are out there that we're ignorant of, and it's to our detriment to be ignorant of it, right?
Yeah.
Again, in Texas, you're not supposed to be. Like if there's signs posted, and most of these signs are not signs you can read, they're like pictures. If it says no firearm, then you're not supposed to carry the firearm. The other laws that are affiliated with us are you're not supposed to even have a firearm. You can't carry on a public university, and you're not even supposed to have the firearm in the vehicle that's parked in the parking lot at the in most public schools. You're not supposed to have a firearm in your car when you are on the premises of the public school.
I know that's playing with fire, man. I think in some states it might be, a certain, I don't want to say the distance because, somebody. Hey, also, I'm going to say this, man, full disclosure on this show this morning. The topic that we're discussing is the opinions of the host and the guest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do your own research.
Do your own research. Also, in the link in the description, I put the link for you to go do your homework. We're
Right.
just discussing this topic and giving our opinions. We're not the legally binding or whatever authority on this stuff. So, we understand all states have their own laws, their own rules on whatever going on. And
Right.
we do understand things are fluent. So things are
Right.
consistently changing. So please, even as we speak about it today, something can change in the next month or two. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. That is
Yeah. But
absolutely fair.
at least by viewing this podcast, it gets your mind thinking that you can go, okay, because I'm consistently on my motorcycle going through all these states and just assuming things. Now, hopefully, it gets the conversation going that you can start saying, you know what, I don't want to assume things no more. I want to go ahead and do my due diligence and make
Right.
sure that I'm doing everything I can to not get caught up with breaking the law.
Yep. Yep.
Because
Yep.
we've said it, even if you get out of it, knowing it's going to cost you some money, time, resources, and
Bro,
things you're not going to want to give up.
bro, it's gonna cost you. You gonna have to get a lawyer. It's gonna cost you $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, let's face it. Nobody. I don't care. I don't care if you got money to burn. You don't want to burn it on something like that.
I'm gonna tell you that half y'all don't even want to get AAA. So
I
you
know,
guys
right?
wanna
You
be
don't want to
paying-
get ESP,
yeah,
AAA,
yeah,
or
ESP
any
triple
gear,
tire package,
but you want to ride dirty.
yeah, but you want to ride dirty. So
Yeah.
hopefully, man, you just pick some of these things up because
Yeah.
like I always say, man, just prevention. You want to be in the fire prevention instead of being in firefighting.
Yes.
It's so much cheaper. It is so less stress to be in a preventive mode than it is to be in a reactionary mode. So,
Yeah.
kind of is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So I said reciprocity and then ease of interaction with law enforcement. Your LTC is also a form of identification, right? So you can use that. Like me personally, if you don't want your driver's, your driver's license number or to use your credit card, if you don't want to use your credit card as a secondary identification when you're doing transactions and things like that, you can use your LTC. I also personally, I still think that the training is very important. In my classes, there's a lot of people that can't shoot, man. They own guns and they can't shoot. And
Yeah.
I hate to say that. I hate to and I'm gonna tell you, my military brethren and sisterin, because I've had a couple of female veterans. The first thing they want to tell me is that I'm a veteran. Okay, so I say, okay, I was like, I'm not. That's not my background. I
Right.
said that's what my company's called practical tactical defense. I was like, I'm not a veteran. But I always ask them. So tell me how being a veteran, especially if you're not a combat veteran and you're just an enlisted veteran, not
If
just,
you
but
if you
hopefully an
if you in
enlisted veteran.
supply,
Yeah,
you typically only gonna shoot maybe a couple times a year, and I'm keeping it 100 with you.
yeah. But get this, Sarge. And most of the time, if you're in the military, it's rifle, not pistol, right? So almost 90% of the time. So
Unless you're in a job field that requires you to need a sidearm. Yeah, you're
exactly.
right.
Yeah. And so my thing is never to discredit anybody that's been in the military. Of course, I love the freedoms that you guys all provide for me. But when it comes to pistol versus rifle, I think, your military experience, unless even if you had combat experience, you were shooting a rifle. You weren't shooting a pistol. And so I think it's important. The training is important. Drawing from a holster is important. Learning how to do that. Because you'd be surprised at how much ground a person can cover that's threatening you to get to you. Like somebody's got a knife, hey, a 350-pound fat man can get to you way faster than you think with a knife before you're able to draw your firearm if you haven't practiced drawing it. So
That's fair.
so to me the training is important, and I encourage people to not only go. I mean, it's okay to go to the indoor range to tune up your marksmanship, but I really encourage people to train outdoors where you can do a little bit of moving and shooting and simulating urban environments where you might have to hide behind a car and shoot, behind, from behind a car, as opposed, we're not like in the movies where everybody's standing out in the open shooting at each other. That's a no-no. We're not going to be doing that. You should be trying to get the hell up out of there as you're shooting to get out of danger, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's all about a defensive posture. But, I really encourage people, man, to train outdoors with, a trainer in your area. And I'm happy to help anyone that's in need of, tapping into the network. I've got a few trainers that I've worked with in different states, as I was going through my process for becoming certified. I reached out to trainers that YouTubers. Kerry Trainer was a guy up out of Illinois that he came to Dallas, and he had a 3-day class, so I went and stayed up in Dallas for 3 days over a long weekend and got that training in. So there's a lot of training that's out there. So I just encourage people to do it. So those are my top 5 reasons for someone still getting the LTC, even though they live in a constitutional carry state. It's not enough to just carry. You got to know what the laws are.
I mean, I peep what you were saying with taking, outdoor courses to learn. I'm gonna call it tactical training to
Yes.
be able to
Yes.
to be able to identify a threat, to be able to get cover, to be able to return fire, to be able to those type of things, or be able to even shoot on the move and those type of things. I do think that's awesome training, man. Because let's be honest, if you don't train, you gonna do. And then if I'm in a situation where there's panic, there's chaos, and those type of things, not necessarily good things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by taking those type of trainings, I think you really do respect the firearm. You really do respect the whole process of what's going on. And let's be honest, there's only one reason we carry a firearm, and that's to make sure we have protection if needed.
Yeah, it's
if needed.
It's purely defensive, right? It's purely
defensive. So
yeah,
it's kind of interesting also because I think about this. I mean, this is a little sidebar. I've traveled through Nevada, at night before, and I'm thinking to myself, I couldn't travel through a state without a firearm, man, because what if my bike breaks down? Now I'm on the side of the road, I'm dealing with issues. And if you've been through, Route 66 and some of those old historic highways in the middle of no dang where, you always, the first thing you think about, okay, what the heck is going on with my bike? The second thing you think about is, oh my God, what's around?
Yeah.
And what am I going to have to, get after and shoot if something goes crazy, whether it's wildlife or it's, some crazy bandit coming down the highway.
Right.
You just think about those type of things, man.
Yeah, man. No. I mean, hey, you don't want to. I don't want to. People, we're not paranoid, but
no.
We need to be prepared.
You got to be prepared.
There's a difference between paranoia and being prepared, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think people. I mean, if you got it and you're gonna carry it on you, you should know how to. You should know how to use it.
Right? You've also, because I know you do classes, and you're going to be here in Jacksonville, Florida next weekend doing something with the all-female riders, ladies.
Correct.
Am I correct?
Correct. Yeah. Jen invited me to be on a panel to talk about really, and I call it the ABCs of self-defense. But our females are out there and they're doing big things on these bikes, man. Some of them are doing it solo, and most of them are doing it solo and not in groups. And many of them are packing firearms as a part of their safety, as in my opinion they should be. But it's not just enough to carry the firearm. I mean, you really need to know, like I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. The number one detriment to anybody's personal safety is these damn phones, right? People will walk around texting, and there's all kind of stuff lurking around them trying to victimize them, right? So especially when I see our females walking around, there have been times I've been in the supermarket and a woman has her purse sitting in the top of the basket, and she's on her phone texting or something like that, and I'll tap her on the shoulder to get her attention, and my hand will be right on her purse, right? And I'll say, hey, I'm a personal defense coach. I don't say I'm a firearm instructor. I just say I'm a self-defense coach. I said you should put your purse in the basket and then start putting the stuff you buy on top of it, because that's the last thing you're going to need while you're in here. True. When you check out, right? So if you're not gonna be, I said you're easy. Somebody can reach in there and yank your wallet when your back is turned.
I see a lot of old ladies do that a lot. I see grandma. She does that a lot, man.
They put their purse right on the top of them, like, hey, this is you're an easy target. Because our thieves are getting very creative. know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a quick hit. Like it's even hard to identify on surveillance that something happened, right? Because it happens so quickly. So, but yeah, no, I'm happy to do that. Hey, I'm gonna be missing Soul Brothers 50th, but it's
Yeah,
for a good cause, and
for sure.
and when she asked me, I didn't know when the date was, but she asked me, and I was happy to do it, and I'm happy to be there, because she's doing big things, and it's her 10 year, it's her 10, it's her
Man,
10 year.
shout out to the all female ride,
Yeah.
Jacksonville, Florida. Let me do this real quick. Not to take this off subject, man, but I'll be remiss not to speak about this thing, man. What they have done, what Jen has done over the last 10 years with that thing, man, it is remarkable. For those who are going to be around the Jacksonville, Florida area, those who are in Jacksonville, that all-female ride is it is a spectacle, man. It is ridiculous the amount of riders that are going to be out there that support that thing. They literally, man, shut down highways around Jacksonville for their ride. And I believe at one time, man, they had, 20 something motor cops escorting those ladies through the city, whether it be 295 or 95, and doing their thing, man. It is some type of, it's a thing for real, man. And what they've done is remarkable over the last 10 years, man. So I just wanted to say that to them. Salute for inspiring, for uniting, for educating all the ladies, man. And oh, by the way, they low key teaching a lot of men stuff too, man. And that's what's up. So I just want to throw that out real quick.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Oh no, they definitely, man. They are significant contributors to the cause, bro. So I'm happy to contribute, but I think all in all, man, the more information we have about, the more information you have about anything, you make better decisions, right? You don't want to. We don't need analysis paralysis where we're over analyzing, but this is not one of those situations. I mean, this is a real easy thing to deal with. Get it. Number one, get an LTC, and then you're not riding dirty, and then do your research as a part of your route planning. Look at the states you're going through, add to your route plan. Well, do I have reciprocity? And then go to your governing agency for your state and see what, even though you have reciprocity, what are those states' laws that are a little bit different, and go from there. And add that to your route planning, and enjoy the ride. That's really what it's about. And knowing all this stuff that we've been sharing over the last few months is just to make the ride more serene so that you can enjoy your ride, right? All this preparation is so that you can go out there and ride.
Yeah, you've done all the homework. Now at this point, it's about enjoy yourself and riding your best ride. I was gonna say this, man. I was gonna say, low key, leave us with some things to think about. You just did it.
Yeah,
you just did it, man.
Hey, Sarge. The only other thing I would add, bro, is if your firearm is not, when you're traveling, again, this is, if your firearm is not on your person, make sure it is locked in a saddlebag. I would make sure it's in a saddlebag and not, or your tour pack, and not in a piece of luggage that could be stolen off your bike. Right. That's the other. That'd be one last thing. Like, if it's not on you, put it somewhere where it can be locked and hard to remove from your bike.
100% agree on that.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. If it's on, because a lot of, especially as Harley riders or full bagger riders, we got these big bags that we put on the back. Our riding bags. Don't put your gun in there.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Put it in there.
Yeah. Would you even suggest, if it's a state, okay, I guess I'm going to assume that the states that provide reciprocity, I'm probably mispronouncing that word, but would you say, even while you're riding, even having a gun on your body is a bad thing? Do you think it's just better to just, while you're traveling, have that gun locked in a tour pack or locked in your saddlebags?
Nah, I would. This is me personally. People can do whatever they're comfortable with. I know people that keep them because, for whatever reason, they think that whatever happens, they can get to their bike and get to and get it. But if any state where I can legally have it on my person, I have it on my person.
Mm-hmm.
That's my rule. Like if I'm not gonna, I don't want it on the bike. I want it on me. So only time I'm not gonna have it on me is where it's illegal to have it on me.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Otherwise, I mean, it does me no good. It's not like, if a situation breaks out, there's no guarantee I can get to my bike.
So those states that don't, you suggest, okay, at that state line before you cross over, take the firearm off you, go ahead
Yeah.
and lock it up in those 3 forms that we said, those 3 separate forms,
Yep.
and be done and keep pushing.
Yeah. At your gas stop before you,
Yeah.
when you get there or whatever, at the gas stop before you cross that state line, separate yourself from it. I mean, and I know people that are like, well, hey, I only want it on me at nighttime. I don't need it on me during the daytime. I mean, and I get it. I'm okay with that, right? I'm like, because most of the time during the day, there's less threatening things that are possibly
Right.
going
It's
to
a lot
happen.
of daylight, a lot of people seeing things.
Yeah. We live in a surveillance society, man. You pull up at a gas station. You pull up to the front. Like I always get my gas. Like when I have a bunch of luggage on my bike, I get my gas, I pump my gas, and then I pull my bike to the very front of the store. And before I go in, or the gas station, before I go in to go, use the restroom or to buy a drink or something.
Right.
And I feel pretty confident that the bike is right. If it's at the front door, then there's a camera on the front door. Yeah. So if anybody screws around with my luggage or my bike, then, I'm going to know when I come out if something missing off the bike right away, assuming I've locked up everything, there's just luggage on the outside. If something's missing, I can go in the store and say, hey, at this time this happened. Can you look at your camera? Let's call the police. I don't want my stuff to, get away from me, blah, blah, blah. Do what you got to do. But, it's so many ways that we can make this stuff easier on us, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And just knowing is half the battle.
Well, brother, I tell you what, it's been awesome today to have this podcast with you. You and I have talked about this for a while, man, and I'm glad that we're able to do it, man. Let me go ahead and do this real quick. I appreciate you, sir. I appreciate you for taking the time to make us a little bit smarter, a little bit wiser about what we're doing as we're traveling on these motorcycles on the highways and byways, man. So that's the focus. That's the goal of the Iron Elite podcast, man, to make us the best motorcycle riders, the most informed motorcycle riders out there today, man. So Low-Key, we appreciate it, man. And I'm telling you, God willing, I'm going to see you soon, my man.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. Salute,
right, man.
brother. We'll see you soon.
Right.
Peace.
Peace.
Hey, man, so there we got it, man. Are you riding dirty? Today's topic. Hopefully today we gave you guys some great things to think about as you're preparing for your yonder ride or you're preparing for your ride to get out of whether you're doing the 4 corners of your state, whether you're doing the coast-to-coast ride, whether you're doing the IBAs, whether you're just doing some of the scavenger hunt riders that they got going on out there, man, to keep us informed, to be the very best motorcycle riders that we can, man. So, again, if you like what we're doing with the Iron Elite podcast, with the YouTube channel, man, let's do us a favor, man. Share the channel with a friend. We're getting the channel bigger each and every day, man, but we are not big enough. Let's continue to push on so we can keep this thing going. The Iron Elite Facebook page, the Iron Elite Facebook page, Iron Elite Home of the Elite on Facebook. It's in the link as well. And now the IG, Sarge_I10, man. So we're trying to bring it to you guys by 3 different platforms with what we're doing and what we got going on. And lastly, man, to all my I-10 to the end riders that are in route and riding, whether you're riding to California right now, whether you're getting ready to ride to Jacksonville from California, man, be safe on that highway. Continue to check in, man. Let us know what's going on those highways and byways. I know the weather's kind of funky as you get into Arizona and California, so beware. Continue to check your weather apps. Continue to check the page to make sure that you're doing everything that you can to mitigate risk while out there on the highway. For my riders that are getting ready to ride, brush off your AAA package, man. Make sure that Your AAA is up to date. Everything is good to go. Your ESP, your extended warranty plan or extended service plan, making sure that that's good to go. Your wheel and tire package, making sure that you got what you need to take off on this trip. So let's do it. Let's make sure we're doing everything that we can to make sure our trip is as safe and as fun as humanly possible. And I'm going to say this, man. Last thing is, man, shout out to Adamak Harley Davidson, man. Those guys have come through like champs for us at the Iron Elite Foundation here lately, man. Those guys they found out that we were shooting a bunch of riders across the country this month, and shout out to them, man. They donated a bunch of coins, Harley Davidson poker chips from Adam Mack, that now we give out to riders that are making this ride, man. Just some cool stuff, man, to support with what we got going on, man. So let's keep this thing going strong, man. I appreciate everybody who supports this platform. I appreciate all my riders that have come through and made this ride, man. So without you guys, we would not be nothing. And I guarantee you this, if you stick with Sarge is going to give you everything that he has to bring you value to what your time. If you spend time with us, we're going to bring you as much value as we humanly possibly can. Shout out to my wife, man. She's been working tirelessly over the last few days, man, getting riders registered, getting riders situated, getting things organized, getting patches mailed out and things to all our riders, man. She's been working like crazy. I know she's exhausted. If she's listening, I love you, wife. Without you, this could not happen. I appreciate you. She's the unsung hero, man. So for everybody out there, man, on a Sunday, man, enjoy your Easter. Keep it safe. And most important, let's keep it motorcycling, you dig? I know. But Sarge, that's too far to ride on a motorcycle. But Sarge, what if your back get tired? Well, Sarge, what if I get lost?